Hello my terrific pterodactyls, welcome back to J-Mac. Yes, I've shaved my beard. Got the mo for Movember though. I don't rock mustache. I don't. Here's all the stories today. Hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you at the end.
First story today, am I the a-hole for pressing charges? My cousin turned 18 recently. She's in high school. She doesn't have a car, and during her birthday weekend, thought her parents were going to buy her one. They didn't get her one, and she was pretty upset. I should note that I'm not very close with my cousin, or the rest of my extended family for that matter. I only heard about this through the grapevine from my dad. Anyway, my cousin texted me on the Friday before her birthday asking if she can take my car, I just leased a new Ford Escape, to the mall and then for an out-of-town road trip with her friends over the weekend. I tell her no. She begs and pleads with me. I tell her no again. My car is for me to drive and for me only. If she wants her own car, then she can save up and buy one. She calls me a feminine pup and says that I ruined her birthday and that she's embarrassed because, well, her friends thought that she's gonna get a car for her birthday and, well, now she doesn't have one. I don't respond to her and think nothing of it. The weekend comes and I sleep in very late on that Saturday, waking up at 1 p.m. Don't judge. Even though my car is parked in my driveway and my gate is closed, I come to realize that someone egged and TP'd my car with many, many eggs and 5 to 6 rolls of toilet paper. And since the weather is warm outside, the raw egg baked into my car, along with the dried up toilet paper, destroying the paint. And let's remember, this car is leased. That is a lot of dollars in damage. Since I have security cameras around my house, I decide to go back and watch. At around 9:30ish that morning, I see my cousin and a bunch of her stupid friends vandalizing my car. I'm surprised she didn't smash the windows and poke holes in the tires too. To save my post from the 3,000 character limit, I obviously press charges and my cousin is in legal trouble. Her and her parents are ticked off at me for pressing charges, her parents telling me that she's just a kid and that she's been through a lot of emotional stress during virtual schooling for this past year and that I should take that into consideration and that I should be ashamed of myself for pressing legal charges against my baby cousin, that I'm almost 30 and don't I remember what I was like at that age? I do remember, and I wasn't stupid enough to egg anyone's car. And, can't she work something out with me, like doing chores around my house for money if I drop the charges? That she's young, that she doesn't need a felony on her record, etc. And that it was just a prank. Right after I pressed charges, my cousin was calling and texting me over and over saying that, this could have been avoided if I'd let her take my car. So tell me, am I the a-hole in this situation? Okay, to be fair, I don't think she realized eggs could ruin the paint job. I'm only saying this because you mentioned you're surprised she didn't break the windows or slash tires, and I don't think she meant to cause permanent damage. I think because of this, I'm going with no a-holes here. So we're just going to excuse the excruciating labor that the OP's gonna have to go through with cleaning up her car. How was the cousin not an a-hole for doing that? Yatta! Jesus Christ, this sub is full of vindictive jerks. Eggs and toilet paper are easily cleaned. It's not like she keyed the car or anything. Now, for her 18th birthday, she's getting a rap sheet. I know it'll just end up being a small fine, but still. I say this as someone who lives in the suburbs and has gotten their car or house egged and TP'd before. I was also a kid who did the egg and TPing. Get over it. Okay, but just because a form of non-violent vandalism is the norm in your culture doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean someone should just suck it up. I say not the a-hole, she is 18 and is an adult. If she's going to act like that, she can deal with the consequences. Yeah, Nata. I was just a kid once and didn't egg anything. Also, ruined paint on a vehicle isn't something one works off with chores. It's something one gets a job and pays for with money. I definitely agree that employing her as punishment isn't punishment. She should not be getting paid by you at all if she's meant to be using that as a way to do the time. But despite my arguments against some of these opinions, I have to say everyone sucks here. She's definitely the a-hole for doing that to your car. And even if there was almost no damage whatsoever to the thing, it's still a tedious process to have to clean it up. All because she didn't get what she wanted. But I do also think you're the a-hole for taking it all the way to the police. You should have contacted her parents about it, and if her parents didn't punish her enough to your liking, then okay, that just goes to show how much her parents suck at parenting or how much they disrespect your feelings of being vandalized. Next story though. Am I the a-hole for shaming my son? My son, Logan, who's 21, and I have never really had the greatest relationship. His mother and I split up when he was 7, and I moved a few hours away with my new wife. We still spoke on the phone. I paid child support, and I'd visit him if I wasn't too busy, especially for his birthday and around Christmas. As he got older, Logan started to resent me a little bit, as I spent more time with his half-siblings than I spent with him. But this couldn't really be helped. You sure about that? One of our common arguments was about how inappropriate he dresses. Logan has some serious body confidence issues and tends to disguise that by coloring his hair very bright colors, getting piercings, and, most importantly, wearing, in my opinion, some pretty revealing clothes. He wears a choker collar thing a lot, which he says is just his fashion choice. He wears shorts that are a little too short, nothing extremely revealing, but definitely a bit shorter than a normal man's shorts. And I have even seen photos of him on Facebook wearing some sort of belly top thing at a Pride March. Well, he also takes a lot of pride in his appearance, example makeup, painting his nails, etc. I just haven't ever approved of this sort of fashion sense. However, his mum is completely fine with it, and, well, he does live with her. Around 2 months ago, Logan and his mum had to find somewhere else to stay due to renovations. My ex-wife's sister said they could stay with her, but as they only have one bedroom, my wife and I offered to let Logan stay with us for a little while. Everything was fine. Logan had even agreed to dress a little more conservatively around my kids. However, a week or two later, I had to check an email about my youngest's school, and, well, since my phone was dead and my wife had the laptop, I decided to just quickly check my email on Logan's laptop whilst he was out shopping. I was shocked with what I found. Logan was logged into Messenger and was sending disgusting, sexual messages to another man. There were no pictures, but the messages really grossed me out. I questioned Logan about them when he got back, and this just started an argument about privacy. I tried to argue that this wasn't the point. He had been sending disgusting messages to another man. I found out through Logan that his mum knew about this. He had, before COVID, been going out on a bunch of dates and whoring himself out to whatever man called him pretty. My ex-wife had to make sure that he took condoms with him, went through some safety procedures, and just allowed him to act like a tramp. I was disgusted and told him as much. His face just fell and he walked out of the room. He went to his aunt's house with his mum and has been ignoring me since. I've had a few angry conversations with my wife where she has accused me of making my son think I'm ashamed of him. I'm ashamed of his behavior, not him. My wife has also argued that I may have been a bit harsh, but she understands why I freaked. Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now, I do not have any problems with Logan being gay. He came out to me when he was 15, after he got his first boyfriend. He'd come out to his mum a year earlier. It hurt that he felt like he couldn't tell me first, but I get it. I told him I didn't have any issues, as long as he was happy. The problem I have is that he was sleeping around and is still sexually messaging a bunch of men. If he were my daughter instead or was messaging girls, I'd still have the same reaction. It's not about his sexuality. It's about him not knowing his self-worth. I would love for him to be in a relationship with a nice guy, not sleeping around to feel more secure. Besides, it can be dangerous. I think the real question for the story is, can Reddit evaluate this beyond a straight father judging their gay son? I mean, let's be honest, that's likely what everyone's only going to perceive about this story. I already knew you were the a-hole when you said I paid child support, like that's somehow equivalent to having a relationship with your child, or your child owing you something. And unfortunately for Logan, it only got worse after that. Natar, people are saying Yatar because they are used to homophobia and think you're being homophobic, which I can see you're not. You have the right to be angry at your son basically giving himself to randoms, and I hope your relationship gets better. Yeah, to me it just seems like this is his way of acting out about what happened with your divorce, which he clearly never got over, then probably got compounded when he felt neglected from the attention you gave his step-sibling, like I think you said. Sadly, this is who he is now, so being confrontational will just make him defensive. You just have to let him know you were there for him if he wants to talk, then let him come to you. That is a very valid point. How is the internet against this type of thinking? Seriously, people, am I crazy for thinking this is a valid point to make? You are the a-hole. Abandoned your kid for the new side piece. You visit if you aren't too busy. You pay the mandated child support. Father of the year, aren't you? What an a-hole. You are a sperm donor and get no voice in Logan's life. Ugh. Yeah, also sounds homophobic. Doesn't sound like he's upset and trying to teach his son to be safe and responsible. He sounds toxic as frick because his son is gay. If he was whoring himself out to women, I'd bet there'd be no issues. So, unsurprisingly, the internet is completely focusing on everyone's sexuality in this story and not so much on what everyone's doing towards each other. So let's remove gender from the equation and sexuality from the equation with this entire story. Is this parent an a-hole for shaming their child into being such a whore? What do you think? Personally, I think they are the a-hole. Being concerned for the child's safety and health, oh absolutely, is not in the wrong. But the way you were doing it wasn't exactly for their health, but because you were embarrassed of them. At least that's where I feel most of this reaction of yours is coming from. I totally agree that they're doing it purely as a way to feel more secure about themselves, but the way you conveyed it to them was just very badly executed. Next story. Am I the a-hole, 31-year-old female, for blowing up at my friend when she tried guilting me about choosing corporations over small businesses like hers? My friend and her husband opened up a small sandwich shop 2 years ago, and it was doing okay at first, but COVID hit them really hard, and I know they're struggling, and I feel for them. I'm still working from my office during COVID because getting any work done at home with the kids is really difficult, and, well, I like working from my office. I usually go out for lunch, and I'll grab some food, and it'll usually cost me about $5 to $10 based on where I get it. Sometimes I'll go to my friend's shop, but just a small burger from their place, although very delicious, is about $14, and it still leaves me hungry after. To get a full meal there, I'd get at other places for $8 and still often have some leftover for when I go home would cost me $30 plus at their place. I'd say I got food from them about once a week, but, well, since COVID, I haven't even been going there much as I'm trying to be more conservative about, well, what I spent on my lunch meals. When we were hanging out last week, the subject came up about how I wasn't at their sandwich shop as much these days, and I said, yeah, I've been trying to spend less because of COVID. They said that I should be supporting small businesses even more in a time like this. And, well, it somehow turned into a debate, which ended up with me blowing up at them and saying, well, I didn't want to buy a tiny as heck overpriced burger from them when I could buy the same thing at McDonald's across the street for 5 times less. They called me an a-hole and I left. Am I the a-hole? Edit. It is a hipster place and it's located in a kinda busy part of the city, so high rents also contribute to high prices probably. The burger is as big as a burger you get from McDonald's but no sides except a pickle. Fries are an extra $4. I will apologize to my friend after she reaches out to me and apologizes first since she is the a-hole. Well, if you're so confident about that, then why are you even asking us? Not the a-hole, everyone's struggling at the moment. Yes, we should try to support local businesses, but not at our own expense. I think no one's an a-hole. I think you both could have dealt with this situation better. Your friend should know their food is a pricier option considering the local alternatives and therefore is not an everyday option, but more of a treat. And you could have not blown up in their face about it and been a bit more considerate. But seeing how it's a stressful time with COVID, I'm saying no a-holes here, otherwise it would be an everyone sucks here. Maybe your friend could learn from this and release a more budget-friendly lunch menu. I hope you don't fall out long-term from this. It'd be silly to lose a friend over a burger. But someone ain't afraid to say it. Everyone sucks here. They shouldn't be guilting you into patronizing their place, and you shouldn't have blown up. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think this is your fault at all. You have every right to choose where you spend your money, regardless of your friendships. I get times are tough, but again, it's your money. For them to behave like you're somehow financially better off after all of this has been happening makes them completely ignorant. While on the topic of businesses, am I the a-hole for sabotaging my friend's business? I have a friend called Lucy who started a business a few months ago and is in desperate need of an investor to keep it afloat. Lucy and I aren't really friends. We just orbit the same social circle. We used to be best friends in college until she slept with my boyfriend at the time. Okay, well, this is starting to sound like a very long-held grudge. Obviously, I was devastated when I found out, but I've learned to move on and am polite but indifferent to her. Lucy apparently thought we were still friends though, because she asked my husband to invest in her business. Okay, hang on, so this girl, who literally was a home wrecker for you, is now once again trying to get something from your partner. Okay. Okay. My husband didn't know about my backstory with Lucy, and when he told me he was looking to invest, I asked him not to, and explained our history. The part that might make me an a-hole is that Lucy had been complaining about another small business who had a similar service to hers, and, well, I mentioned the business to my husband. He's now looking to invest into that business instead. I told a friend, who also knows Lucy, about the situation, and she said I was an a-hole for mentioning the other business since I knew it was directly competing against Lucy's, and she was already worried about going under because of them. So was I the a-hole? I think this is one of the rare circumstances where being the a-hole is kind of the good thing and well-deserved. I know that might not be really agreed upon here as kind of scummy and backstabbing, but yeah, I feel like she deserved it with that kind of history. Like, if Lucy was actually aware of the damage she caused to the OP, psychologically and just in regards to trust with relationships, clearly the OP would have mentioned Lucy's attempts or efforts to rekindle their friendship. You're the a-hole, of course you are, and you know it. You didn't just kibosh your husband investing in her business. You encouraged him to invest in her competition. Own that revenge. Lucy had it coming. Yeah, you're not the a-hole. She's not your friend. She's an acquaintance who once screwed you over in a big way. If your husband sees a good business opportunity, let him pursue it if he or you want. If Lucy gets screwed as a result, them's the breaks. Yeah, I think it should be clarified too that you didn't tell him who to invest in, you just gave him advice and your own personal opinion. Your husband made his own decision. Just like the last story, his money, his choice. But bonus points for your husband taking into account your personal history and, well, respecting you enough to not invest in Lucy's business. Besides, like what St. Alvis says here, supporting X doesn't necessarily mean you're working against Y. Lucy could still be a success. It's entirely on her. Markets are rarely zero-sum.
You're at the end of today's video. Thanks for sticking by. Honestly, thank you. You being here lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And hey, if you want to make it extra special, why not like this video too? Or subscribe. If you want to be really daring, why not both? No, stop. Seriously, all my love to you for supporting this channel and me doing these ramblings. As always, I'm not the smartest being on the planet, I don't know everything, so if you think I'm an idiot in something, let me know. If you're a regular on this channel, it won't be the first. Anyway, this is me. My name's been Jack. You have been a lovely person to talk to today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.